Yo, what's going on, my dear sweet friends? Welcome back to the channel Football Therapy with me, your host, Jan. Hope you're doing well, friend. I really do hope that. Welcome back to Chelsea News, of course, the daily series here on the channel where I reflect on what's being said about Chelsea. There's a lot. Giving you my opinion on it. More importantly, asking for yours. Anthony Gordon, what's going on there? Chelsea looking to buy the young Scouser who looks like he should be Scottish. What's going on with this new Inter-teen? We've signed! Here we go! Another signing. Yet another signing, Klaxon, going off. Mason Mount, Reece James, new long-term deals. I must remember to talk about that. 7 years. Great news, of course. Lots to get into. Thank you for joining me. Please do consider dropping a like. It's a way of showing support of the channel. A simple click. Subscribe, only if you want to, but should you choose to do so, hit that sweet, sweet bell, baby. Alright then, mate. Let's get into it. I'm going to be citing an article from Matt Law of the not the Daily Telegraph, the Telegraph. I should be linking it down into the description for your consideration. And we're going to talk about what big old Matt has to say. He's talking about Anthony Gordon of Everton. Anthony Gordon wants to leave Everton for Chelsea. Quelle surprise, mes amis. He wants to leave Everton for Chelsea. Even as an Evertonian lad, I believe, from the academy, of course, this is an opportunity too good to miss. Everton could fight relegation again. Chelsea are an exciting, well-funded, huge project. When a huge club with multiple European Cups. You can understand. The £45 million offer was rejected by the Merseyside club. Chelsea, and he's an England under-21 international. Chelsea, Todd Boehly, the whole gang, they're looking to build this team for the future. So many teenagers, so many youngsters being targeted. What is Todd Boehly cooking? A long-term plan of a super team that develops together in the coming 2, 3, 4 years, by which point Mason Mount and your Reece Jameses are the senior players. Let's see what's going on here. Anthony Gordon wants to join Chelsea as he waits in hope to see if the London club will make a new offer to sign him around a formal £45 million. Bid was turned down by Everton, so that's a bid that's already been turned down. The Merseyside club insist Gordon is not for sale and value him at more than £50 million, but Chelsea hope the player's desire to move to Stamford Bridge will help them complete a deal for the England international. While Everton is Gordon's boyhood club, like I said, he does not want to jeopardise his relationship with the Goodison Park fans. It is understood he wants to take the opportunity to join Chelsea and play in the Champions League. Of course, mate. Come on, Evertonians toffees, with the greatest of respect. It's how the game works. It's how it works. Gordon has not expressed a formal desire to leave Everton, and it remains to be seen whether or not he will do so if there remains an impasse between the clubs over his evaluation. Everton are understood to be aware of Gordon's preference to move to London, and fear the 21-year-old's head could have been turned by Chelsea's official offer that arrived on Monday and was swiftly rejected. Lampard, the Everton manager, will also be worried about this, being like, what are you doing with my star boy, Chelsea? Come on, Chelsea. Don't you love me, Chelsea? Don't you want me, baby? Chelsea may be reluctant to pay £50 million for Gordon, but could still make a new bid that includes bonuses and incentives that ultimately satisfy Everton's valuation of their star player. Well, their star player now, Richarlison's gone. Gordon is seen as a player who could add creativity and unpredictability for Chelsea. We'll talk about that in a moment. He could see a number of wide players leave before the transfer window ends. Of course, Timo Werner's gone back to Leipzig. Callum Hudson-Odoi is keen to go on loan. Ziyech does want to leave, says Matt Law here of the Telegraph. Chelsea would also listen to offers for Christian Pulisic, who is understood to be attracting interest from Newcastle United, as is Hudson-Odoi. Christian Pulisic to Newcastle United. We are through the looking glass here, people. Now, it's just interest expressed, but my word, strange times in football. Anything goes in the Premier League. Chelsea's interest in Gordon is also driven by a desire to sign someone, sign some of the best young English talent in the country, which includes moves to sign Mason Mount and Reece James to new long-term contracts. So yeah, before we talk about the contracts just here, there does seem to be this recurring theme that Boehly, Egbali, and everyone with the new Chelsea ownership are trying to build this new young English team of serious, a formidable side. Of course, there's Slonina. Of course, as well, there's the Inter kid. We're going to talk about him. Is it Cesare? I think that's how you say it. Lots and lots of, youngsters, but there's loads of English kids they're buying. Hutchison, Chukwuemeka, they'll look at Anthony Gordon. They're really looking to build this, team of youngsters. And with that, actually, the Hudson-Odoi story is they don't want to sell him. They would see him also as another one of these super talented youngsters. He's only 21 years old, by the way. And they see if he goes out on loan and develops, he could be part of this, young revolution at Chelsea. Okay. Agreeing personal terms with Gordon, who would most likely be offered a 6-year contract, would not be a problem for Chelsea. But whether they are prepared to bid the £50 million for Gordon, given the club spend £50 million to take on Raheem Sterling from Manchester City, remains to be seen. And by the way, we paid £47.5 million for Raheem Sterling for Manchester City. So really not that much. Just because Matt doesn't go on about it here, I do want to talk about the contract extensions for both Reece James and Mason Mount. That is incredibly positive. They want to do 6-year contracts with an option of 1 to extend, basically completely locking down their star players, their academy boys, the jewels in the crown of Chelsea Football Club that represent the club as superstars. Essentially, we all know how good Reece James is. We know how important Mason Mount is to football managers, and how he's got a goal and an assist in him, and he works hard. These players are the face of Chelsea Football Club. They're both 23-ish. So you add 6, basically contracts that take them up to 30 years old. Hot dog. So they're going to need to be put on good wages, really good wages, and also maybe they both get to 26. And they get given better contracts. If they become superstars like Champions League winners, Premier League winners, you give them increased, wages. Or perhaps even these contracts that they're talking about include clauses and bonus structures and infrastructures that if they win a Premier League, they get loads of extra money. If they win a Champions League or score X amount of goals. Do you know what I mean? And from everything we've heard about the new Chelsea ownership, that's massively how they're driven in terms of these contract incentives. That's what they want to do. I always reference Harry Kane. Harry Kane's earned a lot of money out of Tottenham, not because he's just on a massive contract, because he meets requirements and bonus-like targets, and therefore he gets paid the threshold. That's what they want to do with Chelsea. Let's read on here. Everton have previously held an interest in the likes of striker Armando Broja and midfielders Conor Gallagher and Billy Gilmour, but they have not yet been offered in negotiations over Gordon. Newcastle are also monitoring Broja and Gallagher should they become available for loan moves. We won't sell either of those players. I'm reading from journalists. Of course, Gallagher, a big favourite of Thomas Tuchel, and Broja, although Broja's been a bit more bullish about leaving Chelsea and going to live his starting striker dream. Todd Boehly apparently has been talking to Armando Broja and is trying to convince him to stay and maybe sign a new deal or something as well, put him on another long, because they see him also as a valuable young asset. Do you know what I mean? As one of these young kids in terms of a rebuild revolution, ladies and gentlemen. The Everton head coach, Frank Lampard, needs to sign a new striker, but getting a £50 million plus from Chelsea for Gordon would not guarantee they could spend the money well late into the window, of course, with a lack of options available. Gordon is not the only player keen to join Chelsea before the transfer window shuts, though, ladies and gentlemen. With Leicester City defender Wesley Fofana also hoping he will move to Stamford Bridge. So Chelsea, of course, have had 2 failed bids for Wesley Fofana, and despite what you guys have all read in the media, the correct amounts is around £50 million and £60 million, so not 60 and 70, but they are expected to make a third offer, which the Frenchman is hoping the club accepts. So, of course, Wesley Fofana, multiple reports saying that he's really frustrated that Leicester City could potentially block his dream move to Chelsea Football Club. Of course, he's idolised Drogba, supported Chelsea as a youngster, etc., etc. And he understands the money that Chelsea are offering Leicester is ample. It's a real formidable bid, so he's feeling offended and hard done by that. Perhaps they won't let him go. But many people are saying they feel this deal, that rhymed, will happen. One potential longer-term target, or dilemma, for Chelsea is the future of course, N'Golo Kante, who fears he could be out for a month after his hamstring injury against Spurs. France international Kante was superb against Spurs, actually, before he came off with his hamstring injury, and Tuchel revealed that it felt pretty strong, and it's not good news in relation to the injury. Kante will get a clearer picture, of course, when he receives the results of a scan, but the fear is he will miss at least 3 to 4 weeks, which could rule him out of Chelsea's games against Leeds, Leicester, West Ham, West Ham and Southampton, West Ham and Fulham. So not actually really hard fixtures, to be honest. Still, touch wood or whatever, all the superstitious stuff is the Premier League, you can always lose. The potential return against Liverpool in the September the 18th offers Chelsea some encouragement, but Kante's latest injury underlies the difficulty of the club's owners what they face with his contract, because he's entering his final 12 months. With the World Cup on the horizon and top players facing a season like no other in terms of the demands that they will be placed upon them, it's already clear that Kante will have to be managed extremely carefully. What do you do with N'Golo Kante in terms of his contract? Do you let it run it down? Do you give him a 12-month extension? Because he will know, N'Golo Kante, despite injury issues, he's not that old, and he could sign probably like a 4-year deal at PSG or something crazy. Do you know what I mean? Maybe, or at least a 3-year deal on high wages. If he was looking for financial security, he could get it a lot more than Chelsea in terms of what Chelsea would probably offer him. I say that, we've just given Koulibaly a 4+1 year deal, I think. Who's a 31-year-old. So he's the same age as Kante, but we wouldn't dare do that to Kante, I think, purely because of his injury record. Not in terms of quality. He easily matches Koulibaly's quality, maybe even more. A fit prime Kante is the best in class in terms of what he does. Kante is just a League Cup away from winning every single trophy possible with Chelsea since joining for £30 million, bargain from Leicester City. Even if he was to leave next summer, he will go down as one of the best signings in the Blues' history. I'd have to agree with that. It seems inconceivable Chelsea will not try to keep him past the current deal, and there's big question marks over whether Kante can really be handed a new deal any longer than 12 months because of his $300k a week and his injury issues, of course. Chelsea's owners have already started the overhaul of the club's wage bill by changing contracts that are being offered to players. Here we go, with big bonuses, like I said earlier, now being paid for playing in at least 60% of the games across the season. Of course, Kante struggles to play in over 60%. But like I said, there'll be targeted structural bonuses as well, like, goals, clean sheets, I don't know, whatever, like minutes played. Also, in Italy, under-19 midfielder Cesare Casadei will join Chelsea from Inter Milan in a deal worth £12.6 million plus of £4.2 million in bonuses. So about £16 million ish. Now, he was another star in the under-19s Euros, where, of course, England won. Harvey Vale captained England to the win. Another Chelsea youngster that Thomas Tuchel and hopefully, Todd Boehly will be looking at closely to be part of their revolution to build forwards. A midfielder, I imagine he'll go out on loan. He's 19 years old, I believe, isn't he? So he's super young, very, very talented. Of course, Fabrizio Romano gave the here we go yesterday. Cesare Casadei, I hope I'm saying that right, to Chelsea. Here we go. Inter will receive 15 million euros plus 5 in bonus add-ons. Their documents are ready to be signed. 6-year deal, medical today, as I understand it, on the Wednesday. Boehly wanted him as part of the top talents strategy after Chukwuemeka and Hutchison. So, and other young players as well, like we said, Slanina and this, that and the other, and trying to keep Chelsea's superstars are tied down. So it's good news, man. Mount and James, 7-year deals. Thomas Tuchel's being negotiated for a new deal, like we said yesterday. More youngsters signed. Still targeting Premier League players such as Wesley, Fofana, and Anthony Gordon. And of course, Chelsea are still trying to negotiate a deal for Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang of Barcelona. And the fact how Marcus Alonso hasn't been announced as a Barcelona player yet, you have to think, or one has to assume, that Chelsea are potentially trying to involve him in the deal, the structure of the deal. Barcelona want 30 million euros for a 33-year-old Aubameyang. It's too much. Xavi does want to keep him, but Barcelona might see an opportunity here to absolve themselves of huge wages. The first year, Aubameyang, he had to half his wages, but now, going into this season, I understand that his wages go like double. So their wages will go up massively. They've got Lewandowski to pay now on top, and they can make a bit of money if they sell him. But not for 30 million euros. That's far too much, considering he's a real short-term option. But Chelsea, again, this is speculation on my part, you'd have to imagine, are trying to include Marcus Alonso in the negotiation. Now, it's been a long video, so apologies if it's gone on too long, and thank you to everyone who stayed to the end. If you want to show support, drop a like, please. Subscribe if you're new. Yeah, man, thank you for supporting Dating. Keep it locked, because I will be reacting to all big developing stories, and I want you here with me, mate. See you very soon. Peace.